When it comes to medium format cameras, especially in the 645 format, there are a lot of options out there. But Fuji took the idea to a whole new level. And today I'm going to be reviewing the Fujifilm 645Zi Professional. I'm Alex Laux, and well, I did title this the Ultimate 645. The GA645Zi is far from the Ultimate 645 camera. Ultimate only in the fact that it was the final GA645 to be offered from Fujifilm. We can thank the Japanese tourism industry for the G series from the start. The industry needed a camera that was both lightweight and functional with interchangeable lenses to produce 6x7 negatives. So Fuji introduced the GM670. It had a rangefinder style body with interchangeable lenses, and it eventually grew into what we know as the Texas Leica, or the 690 series. But what if you didn't need a full 6x7 negative? Something smaller. 645, still bigger than a 35mm negative, and it could have a much more compact camera. So in 1980, Fuji introduced the GS645, a folding rangefinder with a fixed 75mm lens. They also had a wide-angle version, the GS645W, but it was a scale focus and featured a 45mm lens. Both got a bit of an update later in the 1980s, known as the GS645S and the GS645WS. The 1990s saw the rise of the premium compact. These were often branded with names like Yashica and Contax, and Fuji wanted in on the action too. So they released the updated 645 camera, the GA645 and GA645W. These were autofocus, auto exposure, and removed the one weak point of the earlier rangefinders, the bellows. These cameras were sleek. Champagne, metallic, sometimes in a nice matte black coloring, but they still had a fixed lens. So in 1998, Fuji added one with a zoom lens, and that brings us to the GA645Zi we know today. So let's take a closer look at it. So if you're familiar with premium compacts of the 1990s, then the 645Zi will be a very familiar looking camera to you. In fact, it does kind of resemble the Mamiya 6 and the Mamiya 7 of the same age, but it is far from those cameras. Even the lens cap matches. You got smooth molded plastic for the grip, and on the front you have your main lens. Here on the top, you have your main control dial. This is where you'll turn the camera on, off, set the ISO, and then you have your different modes. You have program, aperture priority, AS is actually auto shutter speed, and then M for manual. You also have your command dial and your EV adjustment, pop-up flash here, standard hot shoe, and a lock for the mode. Down here you can set the ISO. On the back you have your flash, your self timer, your zoom control, and then this is what I really consider the weak point for the camera, and that's the LCD screen. In this particular case, the elements are starting to fade. It does warm up after a while, but especially when setting the ISO, it can sometimes not show the full number, so it makes it incredibly difficult to actually see, and you might actually misset it. Down here, you also have a screen illumination and the data, because the camera actually has the capacity to imprint the EXIF data right onto the film rebate. This will also trigger your autofocus or your manual focus, but I highly recommend leaving it in autofocus because then you're just down to a guess focus, similar to what you see in the Contax G2. Also at the back you have your zoom control. Loading the film is actually quite impressive for it. You pop it open on the back, And then you have these two release buttons here that allows you to actually physically remove the take-up spool. Well, as you can see, I've already moved the take-up spool from here to here. And then I have today a hard expired roll of Agfa slide film. And then you simply use these red dots to eject the bottom stands, and that allows you to very easily fit it in. Next, you pull the backing paper across and then insert it here. Now, as you can see, it does offer up a lot of loose things, so what you need to do is you need to apply a bit of tension here and then use the command dial to slide it across. And the best part is you just have to take it this far. When there's tension, you can just close up the back and the camera will auto advance to frame 1. So that's enough talking about the camera itself. Let's head to downtown Milton and see it in action. Man, it's going to be a hot one today, so I'm not going to take much time to talk to you, but here we are in downtown Milton. Ironic, because the last time I reviewed a 645 camera, again, I was here in downtown Milton, but I got the GA645Zi loaded up with Rollei RPX 400, which I'm going to develop in FA 1027 later. So let's talk about my experience with the camera and the optics. So let's head on that way. If you're looking for speed, then the GA645Zi is not your camera. The focusing is slow and you need to be very careful about where you point that focusing reticle. And there is a definite lag after pressing the shutter before the camera actually takes the picture. At least when it comes to exposure, providing that you have everything set right, and despite being center weighted, the camera's meter is decent. And even though it's fairly large, the camera doesn't weigh you down too much and it's rather comfortable to hold with all the required controls well within reach. So yeah, again, the biggest problem with the GA645Zi, like any medium format 645 cameras of this type, the native orientation is portrait and I shoot landscape. Thankfully, it's very easy to hold like this and you can just balance it. Not as nice as a folder, but you know what? It works. All right, it's starting to get really hot out here and I have 8 more shots to go, so gonna keep walking. The GA645Zi is slow in more ways than just functionality. The lens is slow. Given that premium price and look, you're looking at apertures between f4.5 to f6.9. But don't let that bother you too much. The Super EBC Fujinon glass is superb in quality, sharp all across the range, and with that 55 to 90mm, it gives you a basic kit lens for your medium format camera. So is the GA645Zi the ultimate 645 camera? No. This camera is far from perfect. But if you're looking for a compact 645 camera that offers everything you need without the hassle of interchangeable lenses and an external meter, and need something that you can throw in a backpack or take up very little room within a camera bag, then yes, this is a camera for you. Plus, if you're just a fan of that 1990s premium compact look, then this is definitely a camera for you. The one thing you need to realize is that these cameras aren't cheap on the used market. If you're buying a silver one, you're looking at spending between $1,300 and $2,500. And on the upper end, that's where you can find the rare black version. And make sure you know and trust who you're buying it from. Personally, when it comes to cameras like this, I would stick to Japanese seller if you're going the eBay route. But you always want to be able to try it before you buy it, because it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get these things repaired. As always, leave me a comment. What are your experiences with the GA645 series? Have you tried one? Have you lusted after one? Leave me a comment below. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and as always, get out there, stay safe, make something cool happen.